The person I'm going to be talking to is someone who has got 9 not only once, but actually 3 times. The guest I'm going to be talking to today is Dilshodbek Ravshanov.
When your parents expect you to get a 7 automatically, that became normal 2018, 19, 20. But back in my days, 5.56, you're a champion, you move on with your life, you're happy. Now the funny thing is, it's called work and travel. But for us people, it's just work.
Yeah.
And then travel, maybe.
Yeah.
For us, it should be called work and maybe travel. When you take your child to a private school, when you pay a very decent amount of money, you expect everything to be there. Many private schools have IELTS included. So it doesn't make sense for these kids to also go to a learning center. Why? Because they have really good teachers and some of the best facilities you can imagine. And again, I love ChatGPT. I am as impressed as you when it comes to AI. I pay for it. But then I remember at least 5 times when I would take a Cambridge passage with real answers, it would give me the wrong answer for a true false ungiven question, or the wrong answer for the heading question.
My friend works at Internation. He's been working there for some time now, and he tells me all about all these crazy things they do there.
You know that 10,000 package? They give you $10,000 for becoming a niner.
What are you doing here, Mr. Abdul Malik? Podcast is over. Wrap it up. Go to Tashkent, get a 9, and you got $10,000. Then I went to see a different nurse, and she was scared. It's like, who was giving injections this whole time? They almost hit a nerve, and you could have been paralyzed for the rest of your life.
So you know how in Spotify they give you Wrapped? They give you a listening age. So I'm 51. I'm 29, but I'm also 51. And I was like, that's funny because that's true.
How do you think Uzbekistan is going to be doing in the upcoming World Cup 2026?
Because that's the biggest tournament you can imagine.
I have 2 reasons Uzbekistan is going to make it out of the group stage.
Actually, when I feel super sad, it's just a good reason to listen to some amazing music. Because some of the best songs are sad songs. And when you're sad, it just hits you even deeper. And you feel like in this movie, like there's a close-up camera just watching your face, like, life is bad, but at least you're listening to good music. So that's how I feel.
Hey folks, hey everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Astra Muse. I'm your host, Mukhammadali. I am so excited to be back not just be back, but be back with an amazing guest today. The person I'm going to be talking to is someone who has got 9, not only once, but actually 3 times. So you can basically call him an IELTS expert. He traveled all the way from Samarkand to be on the show today, and I am super pumped to be talking to him. A lot of you guys actually requested that he come on the podcast, and we're finally doing it. So the guest I'm going to be talking to today is Dilshodbek Ravshanov. Hi.
Assalamu alaikum. Hi. Feels good to be here. A good 4-hour drive, a lot of good music. Now time to talk, and then obviously some good food. I've been thinking about it since yesterday. I even asked my followers in the channel which restaurant they would recommend. So yeah, should be a good day.
Yeah, right. We're in for a great day. I feel it. I have a hunch. Right. So normally on this podcast we talk about things like background, upbringing, education, work experience. Yeah, it's very much like a biopic.
Yeah,
it's like a movie focused on a person's life, and a lot of our subscribers and viewers who tune in to watch this podcast are curious to know about your life. And there's no better way to start this podcast than talk about your upbringing in Samarkand.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little about that? You grew up in Samarkand, right?
Yeah, sure. I was born there. I lived there for like 19 years before I moved to Tashkent for higher education. Just like many other people, I think it's a very regular path. Nothing too special, but I guess just like almost any other person in Samarkand, it was a very multilingual, if that's the word, because I would speak to my mom in Russian, to my dad in Uzbek. We would learn English, and outside people would be talking Tajik as well. 4 languages, lots of different people, a lot of diversity. That was probably the most fun part. And even in school, I guess you could feel that people were very different, and everybody was fine with that. Once I started traveling to other cities, I realized that maybe other cities don't always have that. But in Samarkand, it was very regular, very normal, you know. But anything else, nothing too crazy, just a lot of football, a lot of music, a lot of English. And I feel like we were the part of the generation, you can clearly remember that too, when it became mainstream with IELTS. It's like we got to know that. And then all of a sudden you can start feeling the birth of all these learning centers and some teachers becoming popular. And then, yeah, somehow, some way, I started teaching and stuff. But yeah, pretty much just like that in Samarkand. 19 years before I moved to Tashkent.
Right.
Yeah.
So you went to high school in Samarkand, right?
Yeah, sure. Lyceum as well. You remember those?
Yeah,
I went to
lyceums.
Lyceum. I was one of the. Actually, we were the generation to go to Lyceums, I guess. Did you go to Lyceum?
Yeah, I did go to an academic
Because
lyceum.
they closed it after we finished school, and then they made school 11 years again.
There's actually a little time after we graduated, probably like 5-6 years. They were still around. There were still high schools and lyceums, but you don't have them anymore.
Yeah, but 9 years in school, three years in Lyceum. Yeah.
So, right. What was your introduction to IELTS like? Was it something you got pushed into by your parents, your friends, your environment, or was it more like something you find online and you decide to?
I didn't know much about it. I feel like everybody was learning grammar. This was the thing in Uzbekistan. Just
Right.
You remember those books, bonk books? I remember that.
Yeah.
But then there was a need for certificates. And then people started understanding that it comes with a certain test. And it would have to be either IELTS or maybe TOEFL, or as the correct pronunciation is probably TOEFL, as far as I know. But we only had access to some IELTS courses. It was Mr. Juraev. And it's actually interesting that in Bukhara also it's Mr. Juraev, and in Samarkand also it's Mr. There was a moment in time I thought they're relatives.
Yeah.
Like
but
IELTS
they're
Mafia,
actually
you know?
not the same people.
They're not. The person I'm talking about is Botreka. Right. It was 2011. I was finishing school. My mom said I need to go. I was almost pushed into, although I liked English. I didn't like the idea of studying again, but I had to do that. I started, and then I quit, and then I started again, and then I took my IELTS in 2013. Long time ago. It's been 12 years. Yeah,
Right.
old school. You know, it was only British Council. You remember that?
Yeah.
You had to register 4 months beforehand, 3 months beforehand. It was extreme, actually. Like everything felt surreal. Like you're traveling to some other country, because for us, Tashkent was also kind of a very different place, right? Yeah, 2013, and then it was 5.5. I'm actually one of the people who got a lower score first. But if you remember, back in the day, 5.5 was enough for anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like you get it, you're happy, you move on. You can get into university if you wish.
Yeah.
The IELTS competition became a thing a bit later.
Yeah.
When your parents expect you to get a 7 automatically, that became normal. I don't know when, 2018, 19, 20. But back in my days, 5.56, you're a champion. You move on with your life. You're happy.
Well, the truth is, these scores still are
Yeah,
enough to get into university.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. All of a sudden, we have this illusion that you have to get 7 or higher to be able to study at university or go abroad. But in reality, all you need is a 6, and you can just move on with your life.
Unless you're aiming for like a top school, because
Right.
I recently had students going to a medical school or trying to go to a medical school in England. The crazy thing is they need to have IELTS where it's at least 7.5, but every section has to be at least 7.5. So what they usually get is like 8 or 8.5 with writing 7.5 and speaking. In their case, they have to get it because they want to study somewhere. But yes, the truth is it was always 5.56, and you can just go wherever you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like in a way, this whole idea of trying to get a high score on the IELTS test, it's a good thing, don't you think?
As long as it doesn't hurt your pocket too much and
Right.
doesn't make you want to
Right.
go crazy about things in life, I think it's fine. And from my own personal experience, and maybe you can relate to that, it did help develop personally. Like you're improving everything. You have to improve the way you listen, the way you read, the way you speak. So in a way, it's cool, and it helped a lot, especially when you request for score breakdown. You try to understand what's wrong, especially when you're close to like 8.5 the first time, or when you're close to 9 the first time. The research aspect to it is really good. But again, if it becomes the purpose of your life and you forget about everything else, that's kind of too much. Because we know people who are too invested in that, especially when they don't need it as much, you know. And I used to think about myself the same way, because I always thought 8.5 is a C2, and 9 is also a C2. Do I really need it? Do I need to spend my money and time? But then I felt like, yeah, it's fun anyways.
Yeah, but I think like as an average student, the reason why some of us like get so hung up on IELTS is that it provides a safe, tried structure through which you can, like you said, develop personally.
Yeah.
You simply spend a great deal of time reading, which you would otherwise not do.
Yeah.
And you get the impression that IELTS leads to personal development, when in reality you can achieve that development through other means too. It's not, IELTS is just one framework through which you can accomplish it, but there are so many other works out there, right? It's just at this point in history, IELTS happens to be the most popular framework.
In Uzbekistan.
Yeah, in Uzbekistan. But over time, it's gonna switch to SAT. Then after SAT comes probably another framework. So the core of all this, what lies is a structure that allows us to make the most of our time and make it feel like we're getting somewhere, right? And that feeling of reassurance and progress is what keeps students tied to IELTS. They have a hard time letting it go because they are worried once the structure is gone, they fall back to their old habits, to being a bad student or a bad person.
Yeah. And then there's one more good thing about it, is that it actually helps you study better in university. And again, maybe you can confirm, but the first year of university studies, for example, in MDIST or Westminster, it just feels like a different version of IELTS. Because you learn things that you already kind of learned in IELTS reading, like globalization, and then the GDP. All of these terms were already in text. So one more good way that you kind of benefit from IELTS is the academic foundation, maybe, to things. That's why it's cool. Yeah, I mean, if you have done like 50 passages of IELTS reading, I feel like it's going to be much easier for you to start your university life, because you know the terms, you know the vocabulary. It's not as difficult to transition from school to university in that case, especially when you have to learn English, because that's when most of the IELTS students do.
Yeah.
They go to international universities, I guess, still.
Yeah. But like at the same time, I'm just playing the devil's advocate here. At the same time, someone who's done reading outside IELTS would probably be equally successful, as long as they have done that reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then if it has to be outside IELTS, you have to have your own interest for that. But when it comes with IELTS, like the resources are ready, they're mainstream, right? It's just so accessible with Cambridge materials or something of that sort.
And the structure itself kind of forces you to learn it.
And people around you as well.
Yeah.
Because everybody's getting into it,
Yeah.
a little bit of peer pressure. And then your parents going to say something like, your neighbor got a 7.5 and you still have 6. Then you feel like you have to do more. Yeah.
Right.
And that's the funny thing, because I feel like parents have a role in this too. Sometimes kids don't really need a 7.5 or an 8. But then the parents are going to say, but your cousin, you know, or your classmate. And then they start feeling like, yeah, maybe I need that too.
Yeah, parents are indeed part of the reason why IELTS become such a big thing.
Yeah.
It's they think it's a predictor of their kids' future success. The higher the IELTS score they have, the more successful they're gonna be. They're gonna turn out in life. Yeah. But in reality, I know a lot of guys who got 7.5, and they make a whole lot more than guys with 8.59s, and they're a whole lot more open-minded and knowledgeable. Yeah. So
It's
Yeah.
like school, right? You remember those kids that wouldn't get the five, the A's, but they are successful. Some of them are good businessmen. But yeah, IELTS, like you said, is just a framework that many people understood, and they use it to, I don't know, predict not success, but at least the least thing they can do is to see if their child can be patient enough to take a certificate. That's the least thing. And then it continues to a job and other things.
Right. So, going back to your life in Samarkand, at what point did you like sort of decide to go to Tashkent to study? Was actually Tashkent your first option?
One of the first options, I guess, because I did have relatives there. I went there a lot as a child. I like that city. And my whole life basically is Samarkand and Tashkent, going back, coming back again. But of course, I wanted to study abroad as well. Who didn't? I feel like when you study IELTS, the first thing you think about is, oh, I'm going to learn English and use English abroad. This is the automatic thought that you might have, right? But then it doesn't always realize, it doesn't always become reality, because you consider the cost of moving to another country, and then if you don't get the scholarship, it's probably going to be too expensive for your parents. And considering all of that, I thought that MJST is going to be good enough. Plus, and you might again relate to that, I think you did do work and travel. One of the
Right.
reasons.
And
yeah.
for those who don't know what MDIST is, can you tell them what that stands for?
Singapurski, that's how.
Yeah.
This is the street name of that place.
Yeah.
The one that you have just when you enter Tashkent.
Right.
To your right, a big place. Used to be like a little rival of Westminster in a
Right.
funny way, but it was never a rival.
So for our foreign viewers, he is referring to one of the international universities in the capital of Uzbekistan, Tashkent.
Yes.
So it's a management of
The Management Development Institute of Singapore.
Singapore, right? Yeah, it's known for being easy to get into. It's one of the universities easy to get into. That's why a lot of students with average IELTS scores try to get into that university.
That's a very straightforward way of saying it. Yeah, I don't think the marketing people in MJST will like to hear that, but that's true. Because the crazy thing, and that's a funny thing, I didn't even realize how I got into university because it was easy for me. I got my second IELTS was 7 or 7.5. We just sent the certificate, and I just had to wait for a couple of weeks, and they sent the conditional offer. You just have to pay it. That's it. And with other kids, you know, it was the TM times. Some people would study really hard to get into other places, and I would look at them, I would feel like, am I going to have the same difficult path? But no, it was different. That's why when you say it was easier to get into, yeah, I can't disagree.
Well, all right. I used to have this sort of biased and negative view of those universities, but over the years, I've actually come to appreciate them. And here's how. You know, not everyone needs IELTS 10, right? And not everyone needs an office job, right? Some people just want to find their way in life, and they need some sort of a structure and environment. And that's what these universities are doing. So, say you have like 2-3 top universities, and these universities can't exactly cater to the needs of all young people in the country. So there have to be lower tier universities that can help keep up with the demand and help people get some education, doesn't have to be decent, and find their way in life. Right. So they're simply filling that niche. Right.
And about appreciation, actually, I love that place. The first year was difficult, and I feel like, you know, any IELTS student, almost any IELTS student who gets into a place like Westminster or Singapurski, right? The first year, they probably are not happy. Like, they had their own expectations, maybe they weren't fulfilled, and then sometimes you only get like 5 lectures a week, and then there's nothing else to do. But that's the point, though, because these places taught us that it's us who are the most responsible. We have to learn how to do research, how to do self-study. You remember those assignments? How the first time you look at that piece of paper, you're like, okay, I'll try to figure this thing out because I have to do it by myself, and there's almost nobody to help. And that was the greatest thing. And then you learn that and you get used to it, and then you're like, yeah, probably that's the way it should be, because we're not in school and people don't have to show you everything and how it should be done, and you probably need some more independence, and these places really help with that.
Yeah, right. That's true. So after all, MDIS is not a bad place. So
Yeah, it's not. I don't know about now, but I enjoy it most of my time.
yeah, and for full disclosure, this podcast is not sponsored by MDIS. It's not. It's not. Okay. Right. So you did go abroad, specifically over to the US as an exchange student. Would you like to shed some light on that experience as well? So how did it go?
How did it go?
Yeah.
It went just like it should.
Okay.
When you're from Uzbekistan, you go there, and it's actually, the funny thing is, it's called work and travel. But for Uzbek people, it's just work.
Yeah.
And then travel, maybe.
Yeah.
For us, it should be called work and maybe travel. Because if you want to travel, by the end of your trip, you calculate everything. It's like, if I go there for 2 days, I spend or waste $200 that I could save and send home. But I did travel a little bit. It was fun. I worked with some amazing people. And the thing is, I actually went to a very remote place the first time, which was fun. It was a little scary at first because it was my first trip. It was almost like an island, but it was cool. And I kind of improved my daily English a little. Maybe I had the same feeling because you went there, you already had a good IELTS, right? What was the score? 8?
7.5.
7.5.
Right.
Yeah, but you go there and you learn the normal English.
Yeah, the normal English.
The normal, like the first time I went to a kitchen, the chef, he said, "Can you go ahead and bring me a tray?" It's like, tray? What does he mean, tray? But it turned out that this is the thing that you put other dishes to, right? And I was like, oh, so there's something to learn. And then you go around and learn the simple things. And that was cool, actually. I think it helped a little because, after all, IELTS is academic English. It's not the English you use every day. And that was the part of it. But it was amazing. I went to US 2 times. The first time it was this remote place in a state called Maine. And the second time it was actually in a city in Rockville, it was called. It was the Maryland area close to DC. But the first time it was more enjoyable, and it was a long time ago too.
So one time you went to a Republican state, the first visit, Maine.
They're both, they're not Republican.
They were both Democrat states.
Very.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, I could feel that. Very blue states.
Right, like how could you tell?
I think in DC, most people are liberal. And you could feel that by the way they express their emotions, especially. I was in DC in 2019, and this was just before another election, before COVID, and a lot of people didn't like the Republican side. They would kind of complain about them, even when you don't want to hear that. They like to talk about politics, Americans, because it's so common in their language, I guess, in their conversations. Not like here, right? They're very open about things. And Maine, I don't know, people were just very nice, and actually, I feel like
that's actually one of the telltale signs.
Yeah.
If they are nice to an immigrant, chances are they're Democrat. If they're not happy with an immigrant, the chances are they're Republican. Because like most anti-immigrant policies come from the Republican side. And this is not to say like I supported the Democrat side and the Republican. In fact, I'm neutral here, guys. By the way, it's just one of the indications. So there is a strong sentiment against immigrants in most Republican cities. So if you happen to be one, they think that you are taking away their job. You know, the same political rhetoric, rhetoric, and that you are you cause crime, responsible for some domestic violence and everything, drugs or whatnot. But if you happen to be in a Democrat city, that may not be the case. I honestly can't tell how it works in a Democrat city because I was I was in a state that happens to be mix of both.
Yeah.
So
the same actually.
Right. And the place where I went to, the Outer Banks, I think it was like half Democrat and half Republican, because there were people who were very open minded and welcoming with immigrants, and there are those who weren't exactly, who exactly didn't want to get along with us. So,
But I don't think I experienced any sort of discrimination. I was blessed enough to avoid that. And most of the times, I think people just thought that I'm Mexican. Many Uzbek people experience that. A lot of people would come to me speak Spanish.
we don't really look Mexican though,
No, actually, for
we're-
them,
right?
we might look similar, mainly because of the skin, the complexion.
Oh,
because it's
right,
brown.
right.
But I guess they don't, they can't tell the difference based on like eyes and like the other skeletal structure, right?
Yeah.
But because of the skin color, I feel like many of them just think that's a Mexican guy. Many people would come to me speak Spanish. I'd be like, I'm not from Mexico or Spain, and then and they would be shocked sometimes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they think you don't want to speak Spanish because they have their own people that want to only speak English and stuff. But yeah, but I didn't experience any sort of discrimination.
Right.
Maybe I was lucky. I don't know.
So aside from the politics and everything, what was your social life like? So, and outside work, what were you doing?
That's a difficult question because there was a lot of work. Sometimes I
Oh
would
yeah,
do,
you did say that you most of the time worked.
yeah, but I spoke English. That was the cool thing. There was only one other guy from Uzbekistan, but he was working in a very different department. So the cool thing about my experience was that I actually had to speak English, and that was fun. There were a lot of people from different countries. I did, what is that called? Kayaking. I did that. I learned that, and I did some dangerous things. I went like into the ocean, doing some kayaking stuff. That was the first time in my life when I did anything very extreme because you're far from home. Parents are not around, kind of. You look at life like, oh, okay, I can try things. But other than that, it's just a lot of work, obviously, and a lot of students can relate to that. I guess.
Did you work one job the entire time, or did you have different jobs?
Two.
All right, let's
At
talk
least.
about them.
Yeah. Well, the first time, I did dishwashing. Yeah, and I'll never be ashamed of that. Some people are ashamed of doing the dirty jobs.
I mean, nor should you be. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I did a little bit of dishwashing too. So when I was in the U.S., I did a bunch of different jobs. I think a lot of exchange students can relate to that. When you go there as an exchange student, you're not exactly doing office work. They don't really trust you with that.
Well, I just met some people that hide that after some time.
All right.
Yeah, maybe they are from a richer background or something, and they don't like to look at that as a part of their life. But I did dishwashing. I wasn't supposed to do waiting, serving, but they heard my English and they said, you're probably good enough to serve as well. So when they didn't have other servers, they would invite me. And I also did some hosting. I was a host. Again, because of English, I would welcome people, show them around. So that's 3 jobs. Dishwashing, serving, and hosting in the same resort the first time. The second time, I was a lifeguard, but they put me in a smaller pool because I was supposed to work alone. I was never responsible for larger pools, and I'm happy about that because that's a more difficult job. There's more responsibility. Yeah, but I was a lifeguard the second time around. Yeah, and I didn't enjoy that a lot.
So of all these 3 jobs you did, which one paid the highest? I mean, I know the answer, but
Serving?
yeah,
Yeah,
the audience might be interested.
but I kind of enjoyed dishwashing more because I used to have a speaker.
Right.
Nobody would bother me. I would play music. And sometimes, after some time, it's such a routine job that you're trying to compete with yourself. The first day, you wash everything in 1 hour. And next day, you feel like, can I do 55 minutes? Can I do 50? And it becomes more and more fun. That's another thing that many people can relate to, I guess. But yeah, serving is more money because of tips.
And actually, like when you're a dishwasher, it's not exactly the kind of dishwashing we have here in Uzbekistan. They have their own equipment, right?
Huge
they have
equipment.
huge equipment, right? And it's very neat. Like you don't have to get, you don't really get that dirty.
Yeah.
You put on your gloves, and you got sometimes put on an apron, right? You got your boots.
Yeah.
If you ever worked in a dishwashing station, because I did. So on some shifts, when I had to work as a dishwasher, I'd have to put on my gear, and then there would be a station I'd be working at. So it's not like where you have a tap and there's water coming, and then you
different, yeah,
put it.
yeah,
It's a whole different story, right?
and it keeps you fit too. Like all this movement, that's what I appreciate because it keeps you fit. I didn't gain a single kilo when I was in. Actually, many people lose weight because of the movement, and that was the fun part of it. Just out competing yourself every day, playing music, and it was a resort. It was a remote location. The air quality was amazing. A lot of trees. You remember seeing trees for the first time, like the big trees, the actual trees.
Yeah, right.
It's just a different experience. Same with like the ocean or the sea, because we didn't have that here.
So, like, you said serving pays the highest, right? It's usually because of the tips.
Because of the tips.
Americans are big on tipping, right?
Because of the culture, yes.
Right. So, if it's not a secret, what's the most amount of money you made in a single day? In a single day,
Combining it, probably like $500, $400.
which is pretty good, right? It's not bad.
But the experienced guys could make 1,000.
Right.
You remember that these guys, like, but they usually would be older, with the most amazing English you can imagine. You could ask them about differences in salads, and they would be very detailed in that. They also knew about alcohol, which we didn't know about, obviously. So they were more qualified for higher paying positions, and of course they would get a lot of tips.
Right.
Yeah.
And also depends on what kind of restaurant you work at.
Yeah, sure.
If you happen to be stationed in a restaurant that happens to be in some ghetto or the not that developed part of the city or town, then you're not going to make obviously a lot in tips because you don't really get generous guests.
Yeah.
But if you happen to be in one of those posh restaurants where rich people come to dine, then you're in luck.
Yeah.
Right.
Some fancy places.
But $500 in a single day is actually a ton of money. The most I made as a server in a single day was probably about $200. Nowhere near that much. So, but then I was never trusted big tables. It also depends on the size of the table you're serving, right? So table can be as small as two-person table, and as big as 10-person table. So if you got one of those like big tables, then odds are you're gonna
Lots
walk
of
away
people,
with a big tip.
having a good time. Everybody's happy.
And tip is usually calculated as percentage of your sales. So it's normally varies from 15 to 20%. So if you have sales of like say $500, your tip would amount to $100.
Yeah.
Like that'd be about 20%
That
of your
was
sales.
kind of
The deal.
thing, yeah.
Right, but people are not obliged to pay 20% of your sales as a tip. So they
If they
might
don't want to.
Yeah, if they don't want it, they can leave you as little as 5%.
And that's the
Right.
thing that we didn't learn yet. I go out a lot, and they have automatic percentages here, which shouldn't be the case because if you want to leave a tip,
Yeah.
that should be voluntary, if that's the word.
It's actually default 20%.
Default, yeah.
No, it's actually a good thing because a lot of people don't get it.
Yeah.
A lot of people are under the impression that the servers are paid for by the restaurant.
Yeah.
Right? They think they get a salary or wage of some sort. So there's no reason for tipping. But
I'm talking about like those fancy places, like if a fancy place has a percentage like that, it's a little confusing.
Right.
Because if we are happy with the service, I think we're going to leave tips. But again, tipping culture is still not that developed here. So
Right.
that's why I guess they have the default 10, default 15, default 20%.
most places 20%, right?
Yeah, which is a good percentage of everything,
So, right, so you said you traveled to 2 different states, right? And when you said traveled, you said mostly worked.
Yeah.
Did you not do any traveling at all?
I mean,
you
automatically you go to New York.
Okay.
Because that's where you catch a bus or buy a ticket to go to another state. So overall, I've been to New York like 4 times. And inside New York, you walk a lot, you meet people, you meet some of your friends.
At least you must have been to Times Square.
Yeah, of course. Like these are the things you do. You feel like you have to do. Take a couple of pictures as evidence that you've been to America. But I know some people who actually traveled to like California, to Mount Rushmore. I didn't do that. I just felt like I need to save as much money, send it home, and that's what most people did.
Right. And something that some of our viewers would want to know is how's going abroad, specifically to the United States, as an exchange student now is different from before. Like, do you still have the same channels, like the Global Exchange, Global Friends, like Life Adventures, those agencies that fix up your documents? Do we still do that, or
I don't even know if it exists anymore because even the green card was canceled.
it it has been canceled?
It didn't. I don't think they played a green card this year. As far as I
Oh,
know, I might be wrong. We can
yeah.
double check later,
I
but I
mean,
think
as someone from Samarkand, you're supposed to know
yeah,
because like
sort of,
the
sort of.
land of green card.
But because of the politics and everything, I feel like the J1 visa is also difficult to get.
Yeah.
But I don't know about channels anymore. It used to be networking, you know,
Right.
a lot of networking. You know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy.
right.
And then somehow you get it done. Now I don't know how they do it, and I don't know if it's too different, but I'm sure about one thing. Generally, everywhere, life before COVID and after was different.
Yeah.
We went to America before
Yeah.
2020, so that must have been different. I guess in a good way. After, I can't tell because I haven't went there after 2020.
I mean, I think you can totally still go to the United States as long as you have $3 million sitting in your bank account. You heard about the
Yeah.
Trump gold card?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I feel like
If you had $3 million right now, like just in savings,
okay,
right? Would you take it?
probably not.
It's still not worth it, right?
But I don't know. But I liked being there. It was
Yeah.
a beautiful country. But the thing is, I came back. Everything legal, everything clean, you know. But of course, lots of people stayed because it was the only opportunity for them to make more money. And everybody knows about that. It's not like a secret, you know. But now that I'm older, I realize that in our minds, probably America was the only place to go to when we were children. We didn't learn much about other cultures, but once you start looking at the map, the world map, you see that there are many other places you can go to, travel, or even find a job in. That's why, like, if I had $1 million for the card, I don't know.
I think I would.
Oh, really?
Here's the reason why. I think I would go there for one main reason, and that's better infrastructure and system. So if you ever like get sick and you need proper medical care, it's hard to find one around here. It really is. And even if you do find it, it's just expensive. But over there, like for a decent amount, you can find a decent hospital with a decent system with decent conditions.
Okay.
So, right, if you ever need a kidney transplant, right, you can't really, count on doctors here to do that. You'd have to go to a different country anyway. So, for emergencies and important high-stakes situations like this, you need reliable systems. So, and there's no better place in the world than the United States of America to find something like that. I mean, you could go to other countries in the world, but then I mean, I don't know. I haven't done much traveling, and it might seem like the United States of America is the only place where you can do that. But you're right. There are actually a lot of other places where you can do it.
Yeah.
What sets the United States of America apart is, I think it's the fact that it's the land of immigrants, and that you're probably gonna have easier time blending in than you would in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the special thing about that place,
Yeah.
yes. The identity is very mixed, it's different, very controversial to an extent. But I didn't expect you to mention healthcare because that's what's usually criticized in America. But the way you explain it, I guess you're talking about emergencies and the more serious things that you cannot find elsewhere.
Yeah, right. I meant the reliability because I sometimes think about it. Every time I get sick, I have to see a doctor. It's not like I can go straight to a hospital and make an appointment with a doctor. I have to ask a friend or a relative if there are any good doctors out in the city. If not, then I have to ask if there are any good doctors somewhere else,
Yeah.
like in Tashkent, right, or in Samarkand. And then I make an appointment, and then I go and see one. You can't really like trust something as important as your health with doctors who have gone to local universities here where they don't probably get much experience, and even if they do, the sanitary conditions are terrible. Like I walk into a hospital and there's no proper air ventilation. And it's like if someone is infected with some kind of a virus, right, and there's no proper ventilation system, how do you get it out, right?
Well, I just go to
So-
private clinics.
Even in private clinics, they just don't have proper ventilation, which really bothers me. Like it's literally the first thing I pay attention to when I walk in, right? So even then, it's a little bit of a culture. Like you see, when you walk into a hospital, I see not all nurses are professional. They're like chatting away, and sometimes they don't really pay attention when they're giving injections or medication or whatever. And there's this one time I was getting injections at a hospital, and it turns out one of my nurses, because she gave me injection at the wrong spot, in the butt, my back got really bruised up. Then I went to see a different nurse, and she was scared. It's like, who was giving injections this whole time? They almost hit a nerve, and you could have been paralyzed for the rest of your life.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, like, at this point, I can't trust anyone. So, like...
That's a traumatizing experience.
It is. Because it was badly bruised up, and I thought maybe it's just the medication. Maybe it's just the injection. But turns out it was the wrong spot. They were supposed to hit it a little up.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so crazy story.
Yeah, that was a very sad moment from Mukhammadali's life. Yeah.
No, it all started with the U.S. thing and traveling and everything. So
Did you travel?
no, sir, I did not, and it felt so. It really hit close home when you said, I just went there. I did work, but no travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's work and maybe travel. That was very well put. So in my case, it was just work, no travel at all. I didn't even go to Times Square.
Yeah.
So I got off the plane, I checked out, and caught a bus to a place where I was stationed in, a small island in the Outer Banks. And then I went straight to my host family. So unpacked and took a day off, and the next day work.
I know who traveled. Alisher traveled. I remember that. I took a look at his pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy knows how to live.
Yeah. He was the one to say, I don't care about all this money. I'm gonna see some places.
But like with people like us, we have this mindset like, oh, this $200 translates into 2.5 million sums, which is enough to get through a month. So you're like doing all that math in your head. You come from economics background, right? Business economics background.
It's a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, right. I come from economics background. So we're always thinking about the opportunity cost.
Yeah.
See the opportunity.
Especially then.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah, we were much younger too. And I also think it was because we didn't have real jobs here. Was it your first job in your life?
No, it was not.
Second, third?
No, yeah, it was my second job.
Second job. But not like, you didn't have a long working experience and then you go to America and then you make good money. That's why it hits, right?
No, I did. I think I've been a workaholic my entire life. I've been obsessed with work because, like, I think like if there was a word for someone who studies a lot and you call them a nerd. What do you call someone who just work a lot and they're afraid not to work?
Workaholic, yeah, that's the word.
I think it's workaholism is when someone is obsessed with work, but how do you say it when someone is afraid not to work? It's not obsession, but it's rather fear. Because like if you're not working, you're missing out on something. There has to be a different term for it. A nerd is someone who studies a lot because they're worried if they don't study, they're going to get dumb. Right? You see? Yeah. I need a similar term for work because that's what I was. Right? It was an obsession with work. It's not like I enjoy work. I do sometimes. But there are moments I hate it, but I do it anyway because I'm afraid if I don't do it, something bad is going to go down. Right? That's my thinking. I don't think it's workaholism. Right? Anyway, so speaking of work experience, let's talk about your academic work experience, right? So when did you exactly start teaching English? And where did it begin?
It was actually with Mr. Botter. He gave me the opportunity to be an assistant for some time because the second time I got IELTS, my speaking was a 7.5. And it was a very rare thing back in the day because people would get high scores in listening and reading. But then when he saw my score, he said, you can help me out here if you want to.
So when you say Botter, for context, you're talking about the big name Juraif Botter in Samarkand.
My teacher,
Right.
yes. And I started helping him out just voluntarily. I didn't even ask for money, nothing. It was just a good opportunity. I would do speaking tests with other students who were about to go to Tashkent to take their IELTS. That was the fun part. And then after some time, after moving to Tashkent, I went to one learning center, then the other, then the third one. And then it was a shared experience as well with you in Thomson School.
Yeah.
For some time, you remember, we were in the same branch.
Of course, I remember. We definitely have to talk about it.
Yeah, that was a long time ago, and it was a very different time.
Yeah.
And Alisher was in a different branch, and we were in a different branch. We were in the smaller one.
I think we were lucky to be in that branch.
Yeah.
It was quiet.
It was really good day, yeah. Really quiet, not as busy as other places. It was actually the time when it was booming, right? All the learning centers were opening, you remember? It was the time when everybody...
Are they not still booming?
No. And now it's the time for private schools, you know, like bigger places. I don't think learning centers are as attractive as an investment anymore because all the big places opened and they are so dominant that if you want to be very successful, I think it's not the best idea right now. Not the best business idea, maybe. And I had my own too. I opened my own. I started looking around. It was too stressful. And I don't know. I didn't really manage that, to be honest, and I just closed it. And I feel like if you want to have a really good functioning learning center, you have to have a really good team, which was one of my issues. But then again, right now in 2026, I want to say 2025, it's January 3rd. Right now in 2026, opening a learning center, just a learning center, might not be the best idea. Or if you're opening it, at least it has to be multifunctional for you to do other things as well inside that place, not just IELTS. Because what if IELTS is not going to be as popular in the future? What are you going to teach, right? Has to be other things and math and other subjects. So yeah, I guess.
So like this, it sounds like learning centers have had their day, and there comes a new time for private schools.
Yeah, and you can call that prime. Learning centers enjoy their prime, and yeah, now I feel like it's because the private school, when you pay 6-7 million a month for your child.
Are you kidding me? Did you say 6-7 a month?
There are places you pay 1,000.
Are we talking about a private school or a learning center?
Private school.
Okay, all right, right.
What I'm trying to say is when you take your child or teenager child right, to a private school, when you pay a very decent amount of money, you expect everything to be there. And now I know that many private schools have IELTS included. So it doesn't make sense for these kids to also go to a learning center. Why? Because they have really good teachers and some of the best facilities you can imagine. Facilities we never had. Our generation didn't see those private schools, most of them. Because for us, it was very normal to go to a normal school. And if we had a learning center, it wouldn't be too fancy. I remember the learning center I went to, a very simple place. You know, now you look at all these other learning centers, they have to have good, facilities to cater to certain people who go there, take pictures of themselves studying. The time is different. But again, as a business idea, I don't think it's the best one. Private school, amazing. Because we also have a growing population, if you think about it. We need schools. Yeah, that's why I feel like many people open them and they're very happy, very rich, very successful, whatever you want to say. But yeah, that's a really good business idea, the private school.
What are the things that are like with Thomson School right now then? Do they not have their learning center department?
They do. They have the learning centers and the private schools. Not one. They have multiple private schools. They're doing a great job. They have a lot of students. They were one of the first to open like a separate private school, not just a learning center. I feel like they understood how the future is going to go in that realm, in that area, and they had to open a school, and they did a great job. Now they just maybe focus on schools a bit more, but learning centers are functioning. Because some people still just need the IELTS itself. They don't want to go to a school. They want to go to a learning center, just enjoy themselves. So they have both. And I feel like I also know they have a kindergarten too. So it's the whole set. You want to go to a kindergarten, same company, learning center, same company, private school, same company, which is amazing as a business model. Of course.
Right. I mean, you said that they could sort of predict the future. Any school in a position where they have access to big numbers, they can sort of predict the trajectory of where things are going. Like you see this, like 3 years ago, you had large number. Now the number is 3 times as little. And so you start to realize people aren't as interested anymore. So it's time to diversify.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it was a given that they would eventually branch into different sectors, like the private school thing.
And they did it at the right time, because they have to do it at the right time. And I can give you a good example. Because before the boom of private schools, and that's after the boom of learning centers, in the middle, it was a boom for universities. But I guess you know that after some time, they stopped giving licenses.
Oh,
I feel like now, if you want to open a university, I don't think you can. I mean, maybe things changed recently. Maybe I missed something. But I know for sure that in 2024, for example, licenses were not given. So even if you wanted to open a university, a new one in Bukhara or Samarkand or Tashkent, you wouldn't be able to do that because the government said there's too many. And there will come a time probably when they will say, now there's too many private schools, let's stop it. So they did it at the right time. And I feel like the timing is very important. And it was very important for learning centers as well back in the day, when they opened them in 2014 and 15, almost seeing the future, understanding that IELTS is going to be a big thing. Yeah, they did a great job.
Or right before the Band 9 boom.
Also.
Yeah, there was a kind of a boom to an app, like it so really peaked sometime in 2024 and then died out.
No, you're saying died out because you got your 9s.
No,
Yeah,
I feel like I'm saying that because if there's a new 9, people not gonna make a big deal out of it anymore.
But more people want to participate in it because you remember 2023, 2022?
No, that's a whole different story because like back then there was none, but now there is
Thing.
dozens.
But now what I'm trying to say is with more people getting it, the sample also grows and more students want to get it too. So as much as you want to say that this mania, it like died out, probably for one demographic it did, but for a younger demographic that sees all these things, they want to go and get it. And there's also more people taking IELTS. I feel like that's something you have to consider too, because it's like 70,000 people. Back in our day, it was not 70,000 people, it was far less. It was a different thing, yeah, I agree with that. Like there were none, and there was you and Mr. Begzor, and there was another person and another person and another person. And then, yeah, after some time, it was like, okay, we got it, we move on to something else.
Right. No, I was just, what I meant to say was like if someone else were to get a 9, not to discredit them, it would just be another day. It would not make the headlines.
Now, yes.
Yeah. If you wanted to start a marathon or whatever, people wouldn't sign up for it just for your 9, would they? Unless they're new to IELTS. But for guys who've been in IELTS for, say, a year or so, they know 9 is not what makes you different anymore.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Anymore, yes. Anymore. Right. Because now you have to offer something truly special without relying on the score too much. I agree. And I feel like you can sense it in many channels when people stay not only for the score, but also for the posts and what the person represents. So in that case, I agree. Yeah. The score is just the score.
It's like the whole IELTS thing has been more the word for is democratized. It has been liberated.
Yeah.
It's no longer. It's a closely guarded. There are no closely guarded secrets anymore. It's all out there. Like in fact, you can accomplish more with ChatGPT than you can with an IELTS instructor with a Band 9. And
I don't fully agree.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Because I can give you some examples. Because I think I am one of the few people, let's say with a band 9, who's still working more or less in an individual sense. Do you do consultations?
No, not
No,
really.
I do.
Yeah.
And I work with very talented people. And trust me, they are very talented, they're very smart. But if you just tell them to go ahead and work with ChatGPT, they either wouldn't be as motivated or they wouldn't explore ChatGPT the same way you do. But when you and them and like you do it in a more collaborative process, I feel like you still can give a lot to that student as a teacher. Plus, ChatGPT still makes mistakes. I have a premium. I use it every single day of my life, and there's at least one mistake every day. Either in the logic of something, or when you try to generate the picture, it will give you something wrong. So as much as I love ChatGPT, I still think it's not a solution to everything. That's why I do think that, for example, if somebody asked you for like mocks, for like a mock package, like 5 mocks, I feel like you could change their perspective on many things. Because that's what I do. I offered people like 5 mocks, including live checking of writing and speaking for like 45 minutes an hour, and it did help, even though they were really good at using ChatGPT. It's just that something you can offer from your own experience.
You're right.
With ChatGPT, you cannot say, hey, based on your experience, what do you think is the most difficult thing about IELTS? It can give you general perception based on other people's experiences, but not yours. But your experience is valuable.
Okay, here's the counter to that. First, you did point out some mistakes that ChatGPT makes, but those mistakes are when you give it tough questions. And things within the IELTS realm aren't really tough. So image generation, yes, it's still a bit of an ordeal for ChatGPT. I agree. Doing research on complex tasks, maybe still a problem. Spotting bugs in complex lines of code, maybe still an issue. But language learning, come on. I've never seen ChatGPT make a single grammar or vocabulary mistake.
In that sense, yes. But I can give you one more example.
That's the sense we're talking about here, aren't we?
No, but there's one more thing. There were like 5 or 6 cases when I would just experiment with ChatGPT. And again, I love ChatGPT. I am as impressed as you when it comes to AI. I pay for it, $20 every month, and that's maybe the best investment I have in my life because it's my assistant. It literally is. But then I remember at least 5 times when I would take a Cambridge passage with real answers because it's clarified and confirmed by examiners, right? I would give the screenshot, copy-paste it, right? And then the question as well, it would give me the wrong answer for a true, false, ungiven question, or the wrong answer for the heading question. I even remember the passages. I was using some passages from Cambridge 10. In that sense, I'm saying that there might be a little chance of a misguidance. And when you work with very high-level students, you have to have your answers for everything, because they will, make your day worse if you don't give them the answer. That's what I'm talking about. But going back to the point of vocabulary and grammar, of course, ChatGPT is doing an amazing job. It's much better than any teacher because its database is huge.
Right.
And I learned some grammar from ChatGPT as well. Like when I was trying to improve my range, ChatGPT was the platform to help me, for example, learn cleft sentences that I never used before in my speaking, and I feel like it helped.
But like so I'll first reply to your point about reading questions, and then I'll talk about the writing aspect. So with the reading part, it used to make a lot of mistakes before, but I think the margin of error has dramatically fallen. This is one. The other thing is, you said that you could give someone more tailored feedback based from your own personal experience, like tell them which aspects are the toughest and which ones are the easiest to tackle because you have taken the test yourself. But in a lot of the cases, what ends up happening is teachers transfer to their students their own biases. When on the other hand, ChatGPT teaches you things more objectively. So if I were to do things all over again, I would pick ChatGPT 10 out of 10 times. Not a single time would I pick a human, because they'd fill my head with lots of these trash and wrong impressions of things in their own reality, which is not the objective reality. So that scares me a lot more than the rare mistakes, occasional mistakes ChatGPT makes.
Yeah.
So
But then again, one more thing. I understand the point.
yeah.
But I would say this. I would combine both. It's good to have a teacher. It's good to have ChatGPT at home as an assistant.
Yeah.
And now you have a perfect routine. It's just like with the offline students. You know, many of them get online courses just in case. Like if they want more material. I feel like the mix of both is amazing. Plus, one more thing I'd point out actually, maybe that's the most common mistake ChatGPT makes. You know, it doesn't calculate the IELTS score correctly all the time. Like if you ask it to grade your writing, it will give a 6.5 for lexical resource, for example, but in reality, it can either be 6 or 7. So these are the little things in assessment that are still not fully perfect in ChatGPT that a person, for example, could help you with. Yeah.
But you can train it. You can train it to check your work through the IELTS writing perspective lenses. What I would do is like copy paste the band descriptors, and then I would ask it to check my work based on those descriptors.
Would you be able to do it if you were a teenager studying IELTS for the first time? Probably not.
I would after watching this podcast.
But yeah,
That's why I watch our podcasts.
but you know, it's easy for us to say these things now.
Right.
But
It
you
is.
remember yourself long time ago when you learned these things for the first time. Like for example, when I learned the band descriptor, this was shocking for me. Like I thought you can give a 0.5 for individual band descriptor. And then people had to tell me like, no. You either get 7 or 8, or you get, for example, 8 or 9. And that's the same thing with speaking, right? To get a 9 in speaking, you need 9s only. You get 1 8, it changes to an 8.5. I had to learn these things, and not from ChatGPT. This is the thing. It was a human-based, experience-based thing. But I agree with you on many things as a fellow ChatGPT user. Ever since ChatGPT became a real thing, I was ready to pay. I was looking at all those quickly generating images and text. I was like, this is the thing. I need it. It's going to save me a bunch of time.
Right. Yeah. You're right. The middle ground here is the combination. Yeah.
Plus, I can tell you that I remained loyal to ChatGPT too. You remember the time they said there's Gemini and other things? I didn't even try them. The Grok, whatever. I was like, nah, I'm cool. This is the thing that has been with me for some time. Yeah. In a funny way, I still use ChatGPT.
Well, ChatGPT has what's called the first mover's advantage. Yeah. It's now become a household name. So if Grok was the first to become an AI chatbot, it would have become a household name. It would have become our current ChatGPT, but
Probably,
it's not.
Yes.
So, yeah. And, right. So I heard you quit working at Thomson School, right?
Yes.
So would you like to tell us like why you decided to make that decision? I know for sure it's bad news for Thomson School. They lost such a valuable team member.
Maybe, but they have a lot of people working there. But it was just a personal decision based on the workload. And like I told you a little bit earlier before the podcast, it's a little difficult now to find the connection in a face-to-face class with students that are so much younger than you. Because when we started, you can clearly remember that most of these people were peers. Like you would sit in an IELTS class, you would be 21 or 22, the guy you're teaching would be 21 or 22, and outside of class, if you ever wanted to talk about personal matters, it would be a very easy conversation. Now, you open a new group, that's what I felt last year, 2025. The guy comes in, right, you talk a little bit, and then you realize that guy was born in 2010. In 2010, I was 14. I was watching the FIFA World Cup, and I understood life a little bit. And now there's this guy who was only born in that time. And if I'm going to talk about a song or a movie or mention a football game, he's not going to get what I'm trying to say. And it's very difficult because my classes used to be a mix of practice and theory and also a lot of jokes that would make my job happier. But now I'm going to joke with the guy that was born in 2010. He's not going to understand it, and I'll feel sad for myself, first of all, because I can't find this connection anymore. Do you feel that now with your face-to-face classes a little?
And that's why I keep up with the social media trends. So we have a common topic.
Yeah.
So that's the I, I I'm not sure if I should talk about it on the podcast, but I stepped down from teaching. I'm not sure if it's for good, but I have no intention of going back to teaching unless it's a one-off thing where like I teach one class and that's it, right? But when it comes to like a 3-4 months long programs, I can't really do that anymore because I just figured the opportunity cost here is too big with the other things I can be doing with my time. So it's not because I feel disconnected from my students who are way younger than me, but rather it's I figure it's time for me to set my sights on bigger things, other things that make me feel like I'm moving forward, not stuck in one thing.
That's one of the reasons too, because you get used to the same routine, and then a new group and another group and another one and another one, and it becomes exhausting at some point. With online teaching is actually very similar. It's not that different. It's just that it's a bit more convenient because you can stay home and do the same thing in a month. Like you can have a 2-month program. You can just make it more intensive. But the reason why I quit, it was, disconnect and probably just getting older.
Right.
Because I feel like, I'm going to be 30 this year. It's a little scary, to be honest. The 2 changing to 3, you know what I mean? And there's, I also lived in Tashkent, right? You have to go to a center and it's going to be a traffic jam. So you have to take that into account. Because I came here, my first time in Bukhara, I didn't see traffic jams. I asked you, like, do you even get traffic jams? You said 10 minutes maximum. That's beautiful. Maybe if I lived here, I would still do maybe offline teaching, right? But then you have to consider in a bigger city, you need some comfort, some convenience, and sometimes staying home is a much better option. Because if you go there, you have to find parking. If you don't find parking, you're going to be nervous. If you park your car in the wrong way and you're having a class and somebody's going to call you to move your car, just might ruin your day. Too many things to consider just to have an offline class, I would say.
Right. So,
But then again, it depends. Because you could be working for a very fancy private school and have no issues. It could be close to your house. It's also about desire, just like in your case.
right. Did you not have any like exclusive perks like parking
No, I did have parking.
privileges?
I did have. I had a good time in Thomson. Like I knew all the people. It's just, probably just exhausting.
Because like if my employees told me they were leaving our school because they have a hard time finding a parking spot, I would tear down a building and make a parking lot so they'd stay.
That
I'd
wasn't the
be willing to go that far. And I'm sure Thomson School would have taken some measures if you had told them you want to leave Tashkent because parking is a problem.
Sure. No, that was a good place. I enjoyed it. It's a combination of too many factors, obviously.
Right.
Right. And then online teaching, like I told you, can be way more convenient, especially when you have a family. Things change. Priorities change a little bit. And there's a lot of competition too. There's a lot of teachers now. You can feel that. You can see it.
I think there have been a lot of teachers for a long time. It's just we have got to know those teachers
And compete with them.
Yeah, right. But if you just tell yourself, it's just the beginning. You really don't have that competition. It's really perception. That's what I'm trying to say. It's a perception of things. I don't feel like there are more and more teachers now. I feel like there are. I don't really feel
There's
anything.
more awareness, like you know things, you see things.
Right. And it's just people are stepping up, evolving, and you got to do the same.
Yeah.
If you want to be like 1-2 steps ahead of the game, I think you should constantly reinvent yourself. And that's one of the reasons why I stepped down from teaching while I have the chance, while I have the resources to do it. And I'm never saying no to teaching. It's just, I think it's more of like a safety net. If other projects don't work, I can come back to teaching anytime.
Yeah.
right? That's because I still have the skills. In fact, I'll have even more skills and more experience to bring into the classroom, better stories,
And I'm
and
sure
so
some
on.
people will be happy to see you back teaching.
Yeah.
And I guess they come here and ask if you have groups still.
No, they don't.
Oh, they know.
That's a great thing. That's a great sign. It's rarely that these days people come looking for me or Alicia because they know we're not teaching as much anymore.
But does
Right.
Alisher teach at least one group?
Oh, he teaches many groups actually. He's actually thinking about launching more groups once he's done with this current group admission. So he's very involved in teaching. But with me, I get I get really bored and sort of fed up if there's no challenge element to things.
Yeah.
So like to be kept on my toes. So I figured I should move on to something different, something bigger. And yeah, I don't know what. I've actually been a little bit of a. I went through some really dark patch in my life, and that sort of explains my new weight. 'Cause a lot of people have lately been commenting on my weight. It's like this guy is bulking up or what? He's put on so much weight. I've just been a little depressed. And the thing about depression is, I hate to say that. I never thought I'd say it. Depression is the product of not being able to rationalize things. Now, that's my way of putting it. It's when you run out of mental resources to rationalize it. And there are certain things I tried to rationalize I couldn't, and that's where the depression kicked in. So, and thankfully I got through that phase. I'm trying to pick myself up now and move on. And yeah, as for teaching, it's never off the table, but it's not something eager to do anymore. So I'm not gonna
I
hide
can
it or
relate to
anything.
that, yeah, a little.
Right.
I thought you put on weight because you're happy. Because in Uzbekistan, that's the sign, right? Especially since you got married.
Yeah, I did back in October.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ah,
but to prove that it has nothing to do with my marriage, I put on weight before I got married, and Mr. Abdul Malik behind the camera can prove it.
yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. You guys
Just
heard
in
him?
case, yeah. Okay. But yeah, I can relate to not feeling as interested anymore.
Yeah. But with teaching, it's fun, right? Uh, Sad news for Thomson school students, but great news for Mr. Dilshodbek. Now, I would want to also talk a little about your first nine. How did you feel about that? I think when you posted it, you left a caption there. Let me try to recall it. Don't say it. You said, "I am going to like every comment, even those who think this is fake."
Yeah, because
That's
you
word for
remember
word.
the thing about it, there was like one skill retake,
Yeah.
and then people were gonna tell you that it's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's not. That's why I retook it. This year I got the one without
Mm-hmm.
retake, just to prove a point or something. You know? It felt good. It felt, but you know what? It felt more like a requirement, to be honest. I felt that I have to do it because people expect you to do it. Like sometimes you don't even care about it anymore, and your student is gonna watch some other teachers teach and some other channels, and he's gonna tell you like, "Aren't you taking an exam soon?" And you'll be like, "Oh wow, should I?" And then you start thinking about it. But it felt good. It felt like I needed it. It felt like I want to be in the group of people who eventually get it. Mostly out of curiosity, though. It was like a personal thing when you feel like, "Can I do it?" Like, can I really get this in one combination? And also, I did it because I felt stupid about my early attempts. Because if we're being honest, if you get a 9 in speaking, you're very close to an overall 9. Because for many people, it was a challenge to get a 9 in speaking. I already had it, but I would feel stupid when I get 8.5 in listening or reading and just mess up everything, you know? So after some time, I was like, I gotta get it done, And one skill retake helped, and it was done. Yeah, and it was fun. It was fun, and when I opened the mail, it felt good. Yeah, it helped the career a little bit, but people don't care about 9s as much as as you said earlier.
Right. So, like, I understand the first 9. I understand the second 9 because you said you want to prove that it was not a matter of luck. It was not just an accident. But how about the third one?
No, second one was also with the one skill retake.
Oh, right.
Third
right.
one was the recent one without.
Oh, right.
But I've been doing these just to experiment too. Like for example, I want to speak from personal experience and be sure about it. And for example, let's imagine me telling students that it's better to write your task 2 with 4 main bodies or 5 main bodies. To be able to say that, I have to practice it. And that's what I did. With many of my writing attempts and speaking attempts, I would experience things for curiosity too. It wasn't just, oh, I got to get another 9. Of course, 9 feels good for the career and everything, but it was also experimentation, especially with writing. And I'm going to take probably another test soon, right? If I have a little bit of extra money, because IELTS is expensive, it's not cheap. I got to be honest about that. I pay for most of my attempts, by the way. Yeah. I'm not a free seed guy as much as many other people. You know what I mean? Like
I mean, why not? If it's on.
no, it's cool. I like when it's free. Of course, why not? If somebody gives me a free seed, I'm just saying that for curiosity, I will do it.
Right.
Just like a hobby.
But like still like if your school offers you free seats as their compensation package, which is actually what we do here, and there are no strings attached, why not take it?
Of course, but I'm just saying that it became more like a hobby to me. When I don't even wait for the free seat anymore.
Oh, so you
do it.
I see. You have to wait for it. So there's.
Well, if you have a deal, you have to register 20 people. Like there's a process for that.
Oh, right.
I'm not
right.
patient enough for these things. I get a little bit of money, think about it, I go for it, I do it.
I heard in some schools they give you 1 free seat a month, which is insane.
Which is incredible.
Right, right.
What are these places?
I heard my friend works at Internation. He's been working there for some time now, and he tells me all about all these crazy things they do there. It's a really rich school. I really wonder where they get all that money.
I worked with a lot of people from there this year. I know many of them. I feel like I could go there tomorrow, just blend in, because they had a 10,000. You know that 10,000 package. They give you $10,000 for becoming an Niner.
Wow, it's just a whole stack of cash. All you need is
one stack of cash with $100 bills. Amazing, yes.
What are you doing here, Mr. Abdul Malik? Podcast is over. Wrap it up. Go to Tashkent, get a 9, and you got $10,000.
I don't know if they have it still, but they had it the entire 2025, I guess. And many people asked me for guidance. I was helping with the mock test. I helped one guy get it. He got a 9, and then.
Did you get a piece?
No. I was just a little part of his preparation, just a little, just a couple of mock tests.
Like, I wonder how many Band 9 teachers they had last year and how much they paid them in cash. Imagine having like 5 or 6 of those guys and $60,000.
For the first 2, they gave cars as well. It was more than $10,000 if you think about it. I don't know how many they have now. Probably like 5, 6, maybe 7. I don't know, but they have really good recruitment strategy. Actually, one thing to learn from Internation, they have really good teachers. Most of them are amazing people, and maybe it's just one way of keeping them motivated, giving them free seats for, like we talked about, self-development.
Right. That strategy wouldn't probably work in regions.
Yeah.
And most regions. Because the thing about Internation is that their customer base is a lot of them are rich people, right? And tuition fees, $1.5 million sums a month, right?
Yeah.
Right. And individual classes twice as expensive.
A lot of money.
Right. For that amount in Bukhara, you can study 2 months, and classes are taught every day. Daily, not 3 times a week. And classes are 2 hours long, not 80 minutes.
But this is something I had to go through. I would also say that systems from Bukhara and Samarkand wouldn't work there. Because when you live in Tashkent, life is much faster. And maybe people can disagree, and that's fine. It's okay. But a 2-hour class here and a 2-hour class in Tashkent are different things. Because of time. Because, you go there in a traffic jam, you already spend a lot of time, you might already feel stressed, and just for these reasons alone, you might not want to sit for 2 hours in a class, and maybe 1 hour could be enough. I don't know if you can learn the same, but in terms of the system, as you said it, I feel like it might be reasonable to have like a 1-hour class instead of 2, because I had to make this adjustment as well. In Samarkand, I used to study for 4 hours in a class. It was normal. And attention span was a different thing back in the day too. Like you didn't have all the social media. Like I studied an IELTS class in 2011. I had a very simple phone, no social media. It was easier to be there for 4 hours, just sitting, doing reading and listening. But times change, technology changes, and I don't know much about the price. I don't know if I would pay the same price to go to an IELTS class, but in terms of the other things in the system, I feel like they are doing a good job, mostly.
But like you're saying, people commute hour or longer to get to class, and then by the time they get to class, they're tired, and it's pointless to have 2 hour long classes. I think, on the contrary, you would want to stay there longer than an hour if you spend hour just commuting. Because like imagine you spend hour or two commuting just to be in a class for 1 hour.
But
I'd expect to stay there longer if I'm spending all this time and money to get there.
But they
You
will
see?
have the time after the class because they have all these beautiful places and facilities, like the big
Right,
halls.
right,
That's
right.
why they do that, because students stay there, take pictures, socialize on social media and with other people. You have to have these other places where they can stay for longer. So that's how it works with them, yeah.
Right.
But the class, you cannot keep it too long. I tried to have longer classes when I was working in Thomson School. Sometimes it was really good. People appreciated it. Sometimes you can feel that they're too bored and you just want to stop and just go home. You can feel that because you can see when young people are exhausted, they will let you know, either through body language or they will be direct about it.
Right.
You know.
Okay. Cool. I mean, still, I'm trying to wrap my head around that $10,000 deal. If I had known that, I'd moved to Tashkent and get a 9, get that $10,000, work there for like maybe 6 more months, and then return home.
No, it
Do it
doesn't
all
work this way. See, the thing is, I think they have conditions for that too.
Oh, really?
Like you get 10,000, but I feel like you need to work there for like a year and not leave. I feel like they're very smart with what they're doing.
Okay.
That's a good investment, and they have the conditions. But I'm sure if you want to go to Tashkent, they will welcome you and give you a good. But you would have to work though as a teacher, which is again a difficult thing for you right now.
I would be lying if I said that never crossed my mind, because it did. And that is a 1 in a billion possibility. But it never say never.
Yeah.
It's a 1 in a billion possibility, because like I know there's a good chance things might go wrong in Bukhara, and I don't mean in terms of education. Like there's some kind of a natural disaster, right? And it's not physically possible to go to work. Then I'd still have to keep going, and which would probably require moving to a different city, right? Anyway, so you are writing marathons, right?
Yeah.
Of all the components of IELTS, why you're so into writing?
It's a funny thing because I used to be more into speaking, but then for some reason, speaking classes and marathons and courses and mocks, they're very difficult to do because you have to be there, you have to give feedback. And I did. I think I do give really good feedback to most people. But then as a course, people just expect magic. Like you will give samples, they will ask for more. You'll give live lessons and record lessons. Sometimes they might not think it's enough. And for me, opening a speaking course is difficult. But with writing, the thing is, both of my grandparents, they were writers. So I am a writing guy through DNA. This is just something that I don't talk about as much. They were professors. They had books. They had actual books published. So when I started improving my writing, I was like, maybe I should be more invested in writing because it's actually more enjoyable. You control it more, and it's easier for you to, not for you practically, but I'm saying speaking generally, it's easier for many people to express themselves on paper rather than in a spoken form. Because in a spoken form, you have to do it almost instantly. But with writing, you can give yourself time to reflect on things. That's why a lot of people do creative writing and people do diaries, right? There's a reason behind that. And for me, when I started improving my task 1, task 2, I was looking at like, okay, now I can do it faster. Now I can use these words. And then after I got the first 8 of mine, long time ago, 2022 it was, I got the 8 in writing, overall 8.5. I was like, why don't I just try to teach people something that I learned myself? Like these linking words, the vocabulary, the examples. I used to write a lot of essays about sports, just combine something that I like with something that I have to do, and it became routine for me. Yeah,
Right.
writing's amazing, and it's typing too, very convenient. So
Correct me if I'm wrong, but my guess would be your like the sudden interest in writing probably has to do with the convenience of it. Like the fact that you can
yes,
outsource some of the work to ChatGPT, which is what I would have done.
I did.
Like, yeah.
And I wouldn't lie about it. Like there were cases when I developed AI assistant. Like with the other person, we had a project. Now I'm no longer involved, but there was a time when I was really invested into creating an AI assistant because I thought it always helps. It doesn't disrupt. If you use it the right way, it can help. And there was a time when I would use a lot of AI to help myself, first of all, learn a few things and then teach that to other students. I literally have classes now. You probably had them too. In the writing course, there are 3 classes where I teach prompts. Now I check essays on my own because many people are concerned about the score ChatGPT is going to give because let's agree, it can sometimes give a wrong score. ChatGPT is amazing, but when it comes to assessment, not always, not consistent. So what I do is I tell them, okay, send your essay to me. The moment I see it, I read it, I give them the score breakdown, and then they want to learn further, I give them a class for prompts. I say use this prompt, this prompt, this prompt, and you can learn something about your writing. Yeah, so now it's a very combined process, everything involved, human assessment, ChatGPT prompts, yeah. But writing has been more interesting to me personally.
Right.
And recently reading also has been interesting. But reading for me now is more like a competition for myself because I look at a passage and I'm like, did I do this passage before or no? And if I didn't, I want to do it. Just a personal thing, you know. How many passages do you think you have done all this time? Did you ever think about it?
I never kept track. I never thought about like in terms of passages though. One of the habits I have had since the beginning has been not to read the questions until I finish reading the passage.
I do the same.
I read the passage head to toe and then look at the questions.
Same.
Right.
I had to teach myself to learn that way, to actually comprehend things without rushing myself, to just look at the keywords. Although most students should look at questions first, let's be honest about it, because that's how they save time. But the same, I taught myself to actually learn what's going on. Like what's the meaning of this paragraph and what is the writer trying to say in passage 3, yeah. But if you think about the number, it's fun just to think, okay, I've been in IELTS for so long. How many passages do I think I've done? Or how many essays do I think I've written? Because I am a statistics guy. I like to keep track of numbers. And that's why whenever I see a new passage, I'm like, cool, maybe I should do it.
Right. I'll speak about reading, and then I'm going to go back and speak about your writing points. So with reading, how I approach reading passages, reading tests is not what I teach my students to do. I tell them that what I do is usually what you do later on when you become a pro.
Yeah.
Right? Because it requires a lot of information retention. You're not going to be able to retain that much information when you are new to reading. So what I teach them is to teach them to break things down into more manageable chunks, like maybe 2-3 paragraphs at a time. Like even then, I discourage them from looking at questions when they do a test. I mean, right away. Yeah. So I read a couple of paragraphs first and then look at the questions. So the whole point is not to get distracted on questions because sometimes what happens is when you look at the questions first is and then go back to the passage or look at the passage for the first time, your attention is split. Half the time you're thinking about the questions, the other half the time you're trying to process. And that's where things might fall between cracks. So not to miss those little details, I encourage them to put their whole attention, their whole focus on the text and then look at the questions. As for writing, we here actually use a similar approach whereby I get students to check their own work with the help of ChatGPT. They get feedback. And my prompt is very simple. It's point out all my mistakes and all with 10 A's and then and then mistakes with a few S's. Like it's sort of an exaggeration. Like pay attention to every detail. So and ChatGPT lists all your mistakes, and then I get my students to make in-text corrections to their work using Telegram features, strike through, bold, underline,
Nice.
and then they do it, and then share with me the checked version of their work, and then I'll look at their work. Because I don't want to be doing that part when ChatGPT can. I'm gonna do the part that ChatGPT can't do, which is the scoring. So
You mean you had to because you quit teaching? You used to do these things.
yeah, used to. I
Used
don't
to,
do that
yeah,
anymore, but that's something every student who's been to my class does, and that's something every teacher who knows me does. A lot of the teachers
And that's
that know
cool
me
because
does.
it would be foolish to just ignore the existence of ChatGPT
Yeah,
when it can help
right.
you so much. And there was a time when people thought it's unfair for teachers to use ChatGPT, but how? If that's just a technology that can help you, you know.
But there's a little caveat here. Do not do it. I wouldn't recommend doing it right off the bat. Like
Yeah.
if it's your first class, do check their work thoroughly yourself.
Yeah.
Like take the time to do it, because otherwise they think you're a lazy teacher.
Yeah. But in marathon, sometimes I would just tell them that I will use both. You got to be honest with them, you know.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, they'll find out anyway. So I was like, I'm using ChatGPT, I use Google, and before ChatGPT, there was Google too. Like, do you just browse during your class? Did you? Like, you open
Yeah,
the
of course,
projector?
like
Yeah.
all the time. Like, earlier today you said like as a teacher you're supposed to know everything. On the contrary, it's normal not to know things.
I agree, yeah.
Right. And when you're a teacher, your job is not to know everything because you're not an encyclopedia or a browser. Your job is to know how to pass things on to people, right? Which is a different thing. So whenever there's something I don't know, I don't feel embarrassed. I say, guys, that's where my knowledge ends. All right, I'm out of options here, so let's go and learn together. So pull up Google search and look things up and learn together.
Yeah, what I meant earlier is you're supposed to know everything exam related, not the knowledge itself. Of course, you would.
No, even then, you cannot possibly know everything exam related, right?
No, exam related in terms of, okay, what is listening, what is reading, like what is
the
assessment?
basics.
Yeah, the basics. But
Right.
like unlike ChatGPT, because it sometimes doesn't give you that information. You know? That's what I meant. But when it comes to using browsers, I browse all the time. I use ChatGPT all the time. There was a time in my career when I would browse during the class and teach students to do that too. And I would tell them the same as you, like, hey, this is normal. My brain is just my brain. It's limited in size. So when I don't have the source, I go right here. This is Google, my best friend, and let's browse.
Yeah.
And they had to understand it because many students in Uzbekistan, they think that teacher is a superhuman. No, teacher is just a guy like you. He just learned something earlier, and now he's trying to teach you the same thing. So you can still use technology and benefit from the class in the same way.
Right. It only like kind of becomes an annoyance in the class when you do it a lot.
Yeah.
Then which would then create the impression that you're a total whack, not meant to do this job. Anyway, so what do you say we talk a little about your personal interests here too?
Yeah.
Right. Do you want to take a break or anything?
No.
Okay. All right. We're good here. Yeah. All right. I mean, it's going great. Actually, I'm enjoying it.
Me too.
Are you? Yeah, you are.
Yeah, like I told you, I want to do it in one take.
Right.
I'm a one take guy. Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
I remember back at Thomson School, you used to love making music.
Yeah.
You were a diehard fan of rapper.
Rappers, many of them.
No, actually, there's this one guy in particular whose song you used to listen and whose biography you used to admire, and you know the guy who got called out for anti-Semitic comments.
Kanye West.
Kanye West. How can you possibly forget? Right. So let's talk about your interest in music.
Well, the thing is, anyone who learned English in a more interesting way, they had to use their own interests for the immersion, as we call it now. For me, it was music or football. And thankfully, I don't know how that happened, but many people in my family liked music. And you remember the CDs, the cassettes? I had a lot of them. And since people didn't fully understand English, I could listen to whatever I wanted without any limits. It could be rock music, hip hop music, pop music, whatever I wanted, I could listen to it with a CD player, DVD player. And after some time, once you understand what's going on, that you like music, you want to understand the lyrics too. And when I started IELTS, one of the things that would keep me interested in that would be to learn the meaning behind songs. Of course, some of the songs would be meaningless, let's be honest. Like especially with some pop music and some of the rap music, not all. You don't get much, what should I say, subject matter, you don't get much. But at least you can learn slang. You can learn some vocabulary. You can learn pronunciation because they sing things, right? And that would be one more reason for me to learn English. And then I also would make beats with my laptop back in the day. And one day I just said, maybe I could try to record a song, and it helped me too. It was a fun process, you know, because in the studio when you make music, it's almost like a fluency exercise because your first song is going to be very bad, and your second song is probably going to be even worse. And the third and the fourth, there's no guarantee that you'll ever do a good song, you know, but at least you go there, you try, and it's a different language. So it's funny when you repeat the same verse for like 15 times. It helps you build some sort of endurance too, you know, like you just become more patient. And I like the process more. It was never just to become famous or whatever. No, it was just the process that I enjoyed.
Do you want to share a piece with our audience?
No.
Just to make this podcast special?
I wouldn't do that because
Come on.
I'm really shy when it comes to these things. I just go to a studio when I'm alone. There was gonna be
I'll
one
sing
more
along
person.
if it's a piece I know.
No.
Right, we can do it together.
We'll skip that. No, I wouldn't do that. No. Okay. I wouldn't. I would feel really uncomfortable. You know what? Do you ever listen to your own voice notes in Telegram and cringe a little bit?
I don't anymore.
But do you used to?
I actually like it. I think my voice is melodic. I actually thought about starting to record stories and put them on Spotify. Because like some people tell me my voice has a nice ring to it. What do you think, Mr. Abdul Malik? Say it in a non-romantic way. Right?
But you know how sometimes you do things and you don't even like what you do. Okay. With music, many people just listen. First of all, many musicians don't even listen to their songs.
Oh, really?
Like, like actors as well. You know Johnny Depp?
Okay.
Yeah, remember that? He doesn't watch his own movies. And there's a reason behind that. Because you either don't like how you look, or you already know what's happening because you created it, or you were the part of that. So when it comes to music, just because you record music doesn't mean you like it or you want to perform it, you know?
I think my answer to that would be like some people probably just can't get over their insecurities. Like it's just you. It's part of you. It's who you are. You just gotta accept it.
I wouldn't call it an insecurity. Just
like what would you call it then?
Preferences.
Like it's not a. Is it a prep? I mean, you could call it a preference if you had you had like 3 different voices, but you get to have only one voice. So it's not like you have a choice and you get to pick here. So it's something you have to live with. So, and if you're not okay with it, you're just not happy with it. Or insecure about it. So not happy with it implies, what does that imply? It implies you can work on it, but eventually you got to be able to, come to terms with the fact that it's you. It's part of you. It's your voice. So.
But I would also make another argument here. There are many people who do the job in a really good way, but they don't like it. I'm not saying my music is good. I would even say that it's average, pretty much. I don't really find my music to be that amusing. But I met a lot of people who don't like their occupation, and they still do it. So in my case, it would be something similar. Like there are some very famous people too who do something amazing, and you just ask them about what they do, and they're like, "Yeah, fine."
But you said in your case, it kind of weirds you out. So
yeah, in many cases, and it's very normal. You can ask a lot of people who do any sort of art, and they will say the same thing.
I think if you think hard about it, it might actually have an underlying reason, and my guess would be because you associate music, singing with femininity. I thought, did I say the word right? Femininity, right? Like
Femininity,
femininity, exactly.
like something.
Okay, right.
I don't.
So
I never thought about it.
it's like not masculine, right? You see, so that's probably why you have a little bit of aversion to it,
No.
right? Like,
No, because you can do rock music and be the most manly man ever,
all right.
still not like it. You know what I mean? Yeah, but no, it's just
You see, there's like kind of a bias to it, and you really gotta try to understand it, and only then you'll be able to get past it, right?
maybe. But I also didn't record anything in a long
And for the sake of our audience, you should get through that, get past that insecurity, so we can get some of that, we can hear some of that live one day.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, we should.
I'll have to come. What do you say? Come to terms with it.
Actually, you used to post your work on your channel. I remember there was a channel.
Yeah, I do
Of
have a
some-
channel now as
You
well.
still do, right?
Yeah, occasionally.
I mean, if is that a public channel or a private one?
Public, yeah.
Well, so if you're comfortable with people being able to, you know,
can share a link later.
Yeah, of course, totally. We'll put it in the description box below, guys, if you're interested in
I'll
his
send it
work.
later, yeah.
Right.
That's a more convenient way
If
for me.
you're comfortable sharing that in public, why can't you do it here now? It'd be awesome.
No,
It's never okay. Sure. Like, then let me ask you this: what are some songs you have been hooked up on lately? Right.
I feel like I'm aging really quick because the songs I've been listening to are very old these days. Like this 2025 for me was a year of old songs. I didn't listen to a single new album. This was the first time in many years that I didn't open, you know, like when the new album is released on Spotify, they notify you. I didn't bother even once. I was listening to a lot of Sade. I feel like that's her name.
Shit.
Sade, yeah, like the Smooth Operator singer.
Oh, is it an American pop singer?
Of course, not pop. I wouldn't say that's pop. Maybe soft pop a little bit. It's a little different, like more like R&B. I even listened to some Michael Jackson this year. I listened to a lot of Pink Floyd as usual. Spotify said my listening age is 51. So you know how in Spotify they give you Wrapped, they give you a listening age.
Oh, wow.
So I'm 51. I'm 29, but I'm also 51. And I was like, that's funny because that's true.
Right.
Like I can listen to the same songs that my mom liked,
Right.
you know, in her youth, and I'll be totally fine with that. But that also relates to the quality of music these days because not all of it is amazing.
I was
obviously.
just about to say that.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of the songs artists put out these days. They're just quick fads. There's no sustenance to them. There's not much meaning, right? They only like recent modern music piece I listened to and I got hooked up on was Apate by Rosé and Bruno Mars. Only because of the catchy tunes, okay? Did you listen to that?
No.
Apate.
I heard that, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's catchy, so certainly.
You know what? Actually, this university in Tashkent, Perfect University, they shot a marketing video with that melody.
Yeah.
They just redid it in Uzbek, and it was playing at Korzinkas all year round. And that song literally got stuck in my
It's a
head.
very funny marketing campaign for
It's
sure.
a smart marketing campaign because, like, I kept thinking, these ring a bell. Where have I listened to them? And then I kind of looked it up, and I remembered it was that song,
Yeah.
right, with billion views. Aren't they gonna get in trouble with the copyright thing?
Actually, they should probably, but they're not going to do it because Uzbekistan is just not on their watch, probably.
Yeah,
They have some
right.
other issues in other regions, probably. So
Okay, right. Yeah, music, crazy. Now let's talk about soccer. You did tell us that you
mean football?
are football. Okay,
Yeah,
sure,
I mean
right.
football, it's football.
Let's talk about football. You are big on football. I'm going to ask you one thing, and I'm going to get straight to the point. How do you think Uzbekistan is going to be doing in the upcoming World Cup 2026? Predictions.
I wish them luck. I wish them the best because that's my country. These people were born and raised here. I can relate to them in many ways. And again, I wish them the best of luck. Right. But I'm gonna be realistic.
Okay.
The group that they're in, I don't think they're gonna make it to the next stage. I just hope they get like maybe one win or one draw, because I don't know if they're gonna get much against Portugal, and then the other country they will be against is Colombia. Colombia is a really good team. Like all of the players are proven players abroad, and then the third country will probably likely be DR Congo, and they have some amazing players too. So I just think they should enjoy their time, do the best they can. I hope they can proceed somehow to the next stage, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
Here's my prediction. Like, I am not a soccer fan, but I have some theories. Is that okay if I share them?
Of course.
All right, and you're totally free to attack them because I'm clueless about this thing. So, I have two reasons Uzbekistan is going to make it out of the group stage. Number one, we do have some good players. Husanov in defense, and then there's this guy playing in Italian league.
I think he doesn't play there anymore. But I
He's
guess
the captain of the team.
yeah.
I've seen his play. He's pretty good. So it's not like we're totally hopeless.
Of course.
This is one. The second reason, I think our team has what most other teams don't, and that's incentive. They have the strongest incentive ever to beat Portugal and to beat all other teams there. Right? Because if they ever make it out of the group stage and make it to the quarterfinals, right, or semifinal, forget about the final. Just get past the group stage. They're gonna be celebrated as heroes. When they return home, they're gonna get a ton of money, cars, house,
Fame,
and
recognition,
fame, right?
Yeah.
And they can start all these marketing campaigns, get in business with companies, and they get those like city keys where they go to a city and they get free food and everything. It's insane. That's a large opportunity they're looking at, and they're not gonna let it slip out of their hand.
I hope so. But at the same time, as a person who watches football,
I don't think Colombia, Portugal, all these other countries have these opportunities because football is, winning probably is not as big of a deal to them as it is to us. So our team is so driven right now. They're going to go in with all that motivation and all psyched up to win because they really need this shot. They don't want to blow it.
Yeah.
And they're going to beat Ronaldo. I believe that.
I don't know about that, but
Right.
I see what you're talking about. But as a person who's been watching football for many years,
Right.
I'm trying to be realistic because that's the biggest tournament you can imagine. The quality of football there is, difficult to compare to anything else. That's why I feel like the chances are very small, but they exist.
Yeah, but like you see, my point has like some like what do you call this? I can like science this thing out and hear me out here. You see, when people are all that excited and driven, they have longer endurance, right?
Yeah, sure.
So even if they don't like normally under normal conditions have that sort of endurance level to keep running on the field, they're going to have in those matches because of that excitement and surge of energy and dopamine,
Yeah.
right?
Especially if
They're going to play this out to their last breath.
probably, especially if the manager has good man management. Yeah.
Right.
Feel like.
Right.
But wish them the best of luck again. These people are from our country. They will represent us. Wish them the best. But my brain, the logic, yeah. And I also don't want to have too many expectations because if I sit here and just expect them to win everything, then if they don't, I'm gonna be disappointed. And I don't want that feeling as well. I'm like, just enjoy.
No, I think if you lose, you're probably not going to be disappointed because everyone's going to say, yeah, we knew. Everyone has that answer
Sort of.
at the back of their head. They're like thinking, yeah, we knew all along this was not going to happen. I mean, at least we made it to the World Cup. So,
Which is a big deal.
which is a big deal. So it's not bad. Next time we'll make it. I don't think people are going to be disappointed. I think we're in for a surprise. We all are. So like, I just have a good hunch that pure raw energy is going to beat any strategy.
What is hunch? What is this word I never heard in my life?
It's like a strong feeling you get.
Is that like a gut feeling?
Yeah, right.
Where do you learn this vocabulary from? Hunch?
It's a
Noun, right?
yes, sir. So we're about to wrap it up. We've been rolling for almost 2 hours, and in this last chapter of the podcast, we talk a little bit of philosophy,
Okay.
kind of a tradition here. So I have a set of 3 questions I'm going to be asking, closing questions. You can take your time. You can give a long, short answer. So yeah. First question I ask is, it sounds kind of general and cliche, but you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. So what is your personal philosophy
About
about life in general at this point in your life?
just try to be grateful for every day.
Just try to be a
Grateful.
fool.
Grateful. Just try to be grateful for
Grateful, yeah.
grateful, yeah. Gratitude.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that the hard way because I feel like in Uzbekistan, many people, they will not teach you, but they will show you the kind of behavior where they are never happy. You could give them everything and they would still be not happy. And for myself, when I became an adult, I had to teach myself to be grateful for things. And I feel like that's one of the aspects of having any peace of mind is to be grateful. You wake up already alive, ready to do something about your life. You're healthy, should be grateful for that as well, because you might not have been, but you're lucky to be. So everything in the philosophy I have is related to just being grateful. That's how it starts. And then try to do things, try to make a little bit of money. If I have the opportunity, maybe a little bit of traveling, but I haven't traveled as much because of work. What else? I like friendships. I'm not a one best friend guy. Like I have a lot of friends, and I think I'm gonna have even more. That's also the part of my life, just to have connections, networking. Yeah, pretty much.
Can I ask you something here?
Yeah.
Where do you draw the line between gratefulness and complacency? Like when you're satisfied?
That's a good question. Yeah. See, the thing is, great gratitude is to appreciate the opportunities and things you have and maybe compare that to what other people don't. There's always a comparative element to it, whether you like it or not. And actually, I am one of the annoying people who will criticize you if you're being ungrateful. And I'm going to say something cliche like, but people in these countries that don't even have water. I am one of those people to say that. And might be annoying because other people say, but why do you compare me to them? Because it's a different country. But the thing is, I believe happiness starts with gratitude, because if you're not grateful, then you're not appreciative. If you're not appreciative, there's too much negativity in your life already because you just see things and you don't like them. You're not grateful for everything, then I feel like that's when not a really good life starts. And complacency, you're talking about the comfort zone. I wouldn't relate gratitude to that particularly, because you could be in your comfort zone and not be happy at all, but you could be comfortable with what you have. So that's a different emotion, I think. And grateful is more about, like, I wake up, I'm happy that I woke up, first of all. I'm happy that I'm in this house. I'm happy that I have something to eat in the morning. And that's how I feel about it. It's more about the energy, the positivity behind it, rather than anything else.
So let me give you an example here and let you be a judge of it. If a student has a 6.5, right, and how do they know they are being ungrateful or they are being just competitive? How do they draw the line here? Like they could just say, well, there are guys who got 5, I got 6.5, right? Or they could say, I can do better. So how do they draw the line here?
And that's our job. This is the teachers, right? Or anybody who's involved in the preparation process. It's our job to tell them something simple like this. If you want a higher score, you can go for it, but do you really need it? Because if you're going to be in the English field, now you're in your comfort zone. Because you're in your English field and you only got 6.5, people are going to laugh at you at some time later on. But if you are not going to live a life where you're fully dedicated to English, you should be grateful for this result, because a 6.5 will get you to almost any university of your choice. Almost any, because some top schools wouldn't. So it's about how relevant it is, if that makes sense, That's how I do, because sometimes they say these things, of course, like, oh, I only got a 6.5. Actually, when they say that, the funniest thing I can do is to say, well, my first IELTS was 5.5. Your first IELTS, you got more than your teacher. What are you sad about? I can always use my score to somehow let them know that they're doing better than myself. You know what I mean? But in any other thing, it's about how relevant that score is for you. And sometimes I stop people from retaking their IELTS. Like they get 7, 7.5, their friend got 8, and I'm saying, hey, like, okay, that's your friend, he got 8, cool, good for him. But do you really need to spend $200 again for the test and another $200 for preparation and your time, most importantly, for this? Probably not, unless you're going to be in this field and unless your job really demands it. So it's a thing of how relevant that is, you know. But with the gratitude thing, I'm big on it because I saw many people that are not grateful, and they weren't the best examples. Yeah, and I know a lot of rich people. Like for some reason, I had some people that I knew closely that were rich, and they had everything, but no gratitude, and they weren't happy. So you get the sense now, right? So it's like you could have everything in the world and maybe also be in the comfort zone and not be grateful still. And gratefulness is just waking up in the morning, just looking at your refrigerator like, I really have this refrigerator, it's amazing. You know, or I have this phone is amazing. And not being grateful is having a good iPhone and changing it every year just because there's a new iPhone. You know, I feel like that's how you can look at it. And I'm not blaming these people because, you know, it's their money, their opportunity.
Right, and someone's got to keep the economy running.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
still.
While you're like sharing your thoughts on gratefulness, I took a moment to think about how I would separate the two. And I came up with a framework, kind of an answer. I think gratitude should come in when you run out of options and there are literally no options left. That's when you should accept that reality and not be thankful for what you have. It's a comforting mechanism for when you can't obtain what you want. All right, I'll unpack this. So say you want to get, say IELTS 8 and you have 7, right? You would say, I'm grateful for what I have if you didn't have the money or the time to go for another shot, to retake the test again.
Right.
But if you still have that option, then you should go for it. If you didn't have that option, if you were totally broke and that you didn't have the time and there's an emergency and you got to go and do something else, then it would make sense for you to accept your fate and move on, and just be grateful for what you have. But if you still have the opportunity, you should keep pursuing it. If only, obviously, it makes sense, not in a maniacal chase of something materialistic just to outcompete others, but rather something that really fulfills you and you really haven't exhausted all your options. That's how I sort of balance gratitude with keeping myself on my toes. Because like it's a very blurry line. I can just say that I'm grateful I have the school and everything, but I can say I have all this time and opportunities to do even more. Right? I can't just say I've made all this and I can just stay home and I don't have to work anymore. I can just thank God for what I have.
No, it's not the way I meant it. Of course,
yeah,
I'm not
right.
lazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But because like sometimes people confuse complacency or the lack of effort for gratitude. That's what I'm trying to say.
There's one more example I can give for this. You have 2 branches now, right?
Yeah.
This is the second one, and you have the main one.
No, this is the main
This
one.
is the main one.
This is where everything started. Yeah. The second one's much bigger.
But the second one is bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's imagine there's a person now who you know, who just comes to you and says, you know what, let's open a 3rd branch. And then you say, but hold on, let's figure out 2 branches first. Let's be productive in these 2. And maybe in a year, we can think about a 3rd one. But let's imagine this guy says, no, you're in your comfort zone already. Why not go for 3? Some places have 5 branches, some places have 6 branches. And in that moment, if you're just gonna take that comment and be like, yeah, I should push for more without any other basis, I feel like that's when it's more like greed and just being illogical about things, you know?
But the good thing here is, sorry for cutting you short, is I know myself. I know when I'm being greedy, and I know when I'm doing it because it's a good opportunity.
Same with me. So the gratitude is the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not complacency, you know, in my case.
Yeah, a lot of people fall into the trap of letting their greed get the better of them, but it really helps when you like can really sit and ask yourself, do I really need this rather than do I want it? So
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I agree with that.
right. So if that ever happened, if that scenario actually played out in the real world, I hope I'm not gonna get all caught up in the and the prospect of having third campus and everything. Well, I'll tell you something. This actually happened several times in 2025.
It will.
Multiple times. It happens all year round. And you have to learn like the ability to say no to all these opportunities so you can sometimes because the timing is wrong, other times because there is a better opportunity waiting ahead. So
Or sometimes you just want to focus on quality, not the number.
right. Other times you're just tired. I'm like sometimes I say, God, for God's sake, I need some break. Right? I can't physically cope with that much work. But yeah, you can assign this work to other people and delegate tasks while you take the credit for it, right? But then that would not work with my conscience. I'd not be okay with it.
Conscious is a noun, right?
Conscience, yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Conscience is a noun.
I used to confuse them a lot because it's the adjective that looks just like that word.
Right. So next question we got here is, what is one piece of advice you'd give your 15, 16-year-old self, your teenager-old self? Because a lot of guys or teenagers here watching us.
That's a wonderful question. And my answer is I wouldn't give advice.
Okay.
Because everybody has the scenario in their mind. Oh, if I go back in time, I would just go to gym earlier. I would save money earlier. I would study English earlier. But then what's the point of life then? Because you did things and you had your life, your own, let's say, movie in a way that it did. And if everybody had the opportunity to go back in time and just change everything, doesn't make any sense. I wouldn't tell anything to myself. I would just say, enjoy yourself. I don't know. Maybe that's the only thing I would say. Because if I had another life, I would do many things in the same way. Because in a certain age, you just do things that are appropriate for that age. And it's totally okay. Nobody ever had a perfect life. I guess nobody ever had a perfect life, and nobody will probably. That's why when it comes to giving advice to my older self, I probably wouldn't do that. Like, no advice.
You probably right now doing them a great favor by not giving them advice.
Yes.
Because like that advice would just only confuse them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine the scenario when I could change anything in my life because, I don't know, it feels like everything happens for a reason.
Right.
Or maybe I just want to believe that. But that's the normal life that I think should be the case with everybody. Just going back in time and changing stuff? No.
One last question. And I would obviously want you to answer this question looking at that camera.
Right.
So imagine we're right now being watched by your future self, the future you. And I hope you're going to come back and watch this podcast, not be like Johnny Depp. So imagine your future 39-year-old self 10 years from now watching this podcast right now.
39 and 10 years?
Yeah.
No,
So,
not grateful.
so what's something you would tell your future self right now who's looking at you?
Save a little bit of money.
Okay.
Yeah, save money because you're spending too much on food. Don't do that. Go to gym more consistently. Do a little bit more sports. Take care of your health. That's all. Really, health, money, nothing else to think about, really. That's what I would tell myself. I spend so much money on food. Yeah, that's actually now I feel like financial literacy advice is a really important part of my life. And then when it comes to health, I would tell myself to just take care of the health. Actually, just recently I did a medical checkup. Just for no reason. I just went to a clinic, the private clinic. I just did a checkup because we're right now in an age where things can happen quite quickly. And if you don't notice them, things can happen. That's why health and money are the two things I worry about, and probably nothing else.
Have you lately been having any episodes of, say, depression or anything? I'm only asking that because the way you describe things, I can relate. I've been there, and like developed these compulsive behavior with different things, not necessarily food. When I was sort of depressed, when I couldn't bring myself to rationally think.
I don't like to use the word depression that much. I would just say that, I don't know, in my case, I just compare things, honestly. Like if I feel sad, I just tell myself that somebody else in this world feels even sadder. So why am I feeling sad?
But like you see, when you do that, you're not really dealing with the underlying problem. You're just covering it up. But the problem is still there.
But
It's not really going to go away until you really, really face it.
But I also taught myself that some problems are always going to be a part of your life, and getting rid of all the issues are just making life meaningless, because there will be frustrating moments. There will be moments when you hate life, and I feel like it's just a part of life. It's just like I accepted it, like today is a good day, tomorrow is a bad day, and that's how it should be. No one has a perfect year, no one has a perfect life. So you just learn to accept these things and just move on. That's why I feel like, I know that depression is probably like something real that many people suffer from, but in my life, I try not to even think about that word. Like, it's just life. Life is good and bad every day. Like even today in the morning, I was angry about something. Today,
So
I'm not angry anymore. Because right now, when we finish this podcast, we're going to eat some food. I'm
right.
already thinking about food. I'm not thinking about something that happened in the road in the morning, you know what I mean? Because if I keep thinking about that, of course I'll be sad.
Yeah.
And I had to teach myself this, because if you don't, you're just going to lose a lot of nerves and age even faster.
Yeah. Right.
And you said that I'm going to be 39 now in 10 years. And now I'm thinking about health even more, like can't think about negative stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the reasons why people age really quick and lose hair. And I'm losing hair too, so gotta be super careful about these things, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can fix the hair part though.
Going to Turkey?
Yeah. Right.
That will be one reason to go there, because I've never been there, yeah. But again, yeah, when it comes to feeling sad, I just accept it. It's okay. Actually, when I feel super sad, it's just a good reason to listen to some amazing music. Because some of the best songs are sad songs. And when you're sad, it just hits you even deeper. And you feel like in this movie, like there's a close-up camera just watching your face, like, life is bad, but at least you're listening to good music. That's how I feel.
I'll tell you why music makes everything good.
Yeah.
Feel good when you're depressed. I actually read or heard the quote somewhere, and it made so much sense. And it goes, I probably put it out there on our channel. It goes, art gives life context when it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you can say that.
Right. So you see, when you're depressed, things don't really make sense. If they really made sense, you'd be on your way somewhere. You'd have a goal. You'd be after something. You'd be rational. And when reason goes out the window, that's where art comes in. And it doesn't have to be reasonable.
And it dramatizes everything in a beautiful way.
Right.
Like you have this issue, like it's the most serious issue in the world. Like you just think about it, oh, I'm in such trouble.
Yeah.
So, yeah, music helps. Not just music, but like you said, just almost any art.
Yeah.
That's why they still make movies. And there's one more thing I'll tell you, maybe the last thing for today. When you have issues and problems in life, the way I look at it is, that's okay, it happens, and maybe one day somebody's going to make a movie about it. Because people need sources of happiness and also frustration, like a balance of two to create things. That's why I feel like it's okay to be sad. You know, it's okay to be frustrated. Just accept it and move on, probably. Because the more you pay attention to it, the bigger it becomes as an issue. I think that's my personal opinion. I'm not a psychiatrist of any sort, but that's the way I try to deal with it. You know, there you go.
It's an interesting perspective.
Hopefully, I hope the people are going to find it interesting.
Yeah.
And actually, in a good way, we didn't talk about IELTS as much today.
I had no intention of talking about IELTS today going into this
but
podcast.
the way you said it in the beginning, right? You remember, like many IELTS topics are not as interesting as other guests. Yeah, that's why it's good that we didn't focus on it as much.
I think the reason why I didn't bring up this topic is because there's not really much to talk about.
Yeah, left. Yeah,
Yeah,
everything is clear.
the only part we haven't talked about was the maybe AI thing. We cleared it up. We had a nice discussion about it.
Yeah.
Right. I hope people are gonna walk away with some nice insights from this podcast.
And not ask ChatGPT to score their essay. This is very important. You use ChatGPT for everything, lexical resource, grammar, but not just, hey, give it a score, because that's the most basic thing you can do in a bad way. There's so many other things to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure people asked you as well, like, teacher, can I give ChatGPT my essay to score? Did you ever say yes?
I would you can copy paste the band descriptors and ask it to assess it with those band descriptors, but I get where you're coming from. He's like you're like saying it's very much like asking Google to diagnose you.
Sort of.
Asking Google what's wrong with you, and then it tells you you're gonna die.
Very quick, like you have cancer. Yeah, that did it many times. Every time I did it, I regretted it.
Say you have a headache, and you ask, "Hey Google, I'm having a headache. I've had it for the last 3 hours," and it's like, "Oh, headache is linked with stage 3 cancer, so you should go and get checked." Right.
Happened a lot. Happens to many other people as well, I guess.
All right, Mr. Dilshodbek, it was so much fun talking to you today.
Thank you.
And I don't really know how to thank you for coming on the podcast today. You made a lot of people happy, not just me.
I made myself happy, most importantly, because I like driving. Then I'm going to feel as excited going back home, a 4-hour drive. Any opportunity to drive, I drive.
Okay.
So I wouldn't come here on a plane. I wouldn't come here on a bus, on a train. All of my family members said, you got to be careful, take a train. I said, no, I'm going to go there alone. There's nothing you can do about it, and I enjoyed it. What about other guests? Do they come on a plane or on a train?
Some travel here by plane, some come here by train, some come here. I've never had a guest who traveled here by car, though. So
I'm the first one.
You're the first
Somebody had to be first.
Who? Oh, Mr. Dilmurad from Everest. He drove all the way from here, from Tashkent.
He holds the record for now.
Yeah.
Okay, next time I come here, it's going to be a further distance.
Okay.
Because driving is cool.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you liked our content, please do like it, subscribe, and leave your comments in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Thank you.
Thanks.